Born in Cleveland, raised a hillbilly. What's your story? Welcome to the Hillbilly Justice on the School Bus podcast. Here's your host, Sarah Blossom Ware.
Welcome to the 7th episode of the Hillbilly Justice on the School Bus podcast. I'm Sarah Blossom Ware. I'm a biology professor at College of DuPage, and I also teach at Benedictine University. Today I'm going to read a chapter from my book about growing up as a hillbilly, and the chapter today is called Summer Sausage. We were not self-sustaining by any means, but we did have goats that gave milk and chickens that laid eggs, although it was difficult to find them, since the chickens were free-range and continually came up with new hiding places. Dad worked at Campbell's Soup Company as a tool and die maker. As an employee, he had access to the company store, where he received discounted rates on scratch and dent cans and new TV dinner combinations that were being trialed. I remember eating a lot of Campbell's soup and TV dinners marked X-Pack and big bags of cheese butts, the crinkly ends from deli cheese, not to be confused with butt cheese, which the Urban Dictionary defines as lint from your butt, and a lot of hot dogs, but I think those were from the regular store. So you see, even though we were poor, we ate rich. But back to the animals, the goats. Some people say that goat milk is an acquired taste. It's not. It's just disgusting. If it were an acquired taste, I would have acquired it, and I didn't. Even so, I really wanted to milk a goat. My goat's name was Summer. Summer was a wonderful white goat, and my mom promised that I would be able to milk her when I turned 8 years old the following year, but it wasn't meant to be. Unlike the feral chickens, Summer and Billy the billy goat were enclosed in a pen surrounded by an electrified barbed wire fence, but this is no match for a goat. Summer and Billy escaped on a regular basis and had to be herded back into the pen. We were able to move up the social ladder very quickly. By this time, we had moved on from the cabin and into every Arkansan stream home, a 2-bedroom trailer. We even got electricity and a phone and a bathroom, but there was still no running water. My sister Mary Jane was born during the trailer years. One day when we came home, the trailer door was open. This by itself wasn't unusual, since the trailer door didn't shut properly and often flung open. The unusual thing was that we found Billy inside munching on Dad's J.R.R. Tolkien series and Summer inside jumping on Mom and Dad's bed. Mom and Dad shooed the goats out of the trailer. Mom, completely fed up with goats, yelled to Dad, "George, shoot those goats." My father pulled out his shotgun and extinguished all of my dreams of goat milking right before my eyes. In case you're wondering, yes, this was a defining moment in my childhood. As if this wasn't enough for a 7-year-old girl, the entire mountainside came over the next day for a good old-fashioned goat roast. And over the next several days, my dog Bonzo kept showing up with white tufts of fur in her mouth, all proud and mocking-like. My kind and sensitive husband has coined this my summer sausage story. Okay, so let's reintroduce our panel for this podcast. We'll have everyone just say your name and your 6-word summary.
Okay. All right, I'm Len Kruse, and my 6 words are family, Jesus, marriage, kids, music, and barn.
I'm Wayne Severson, and my 6 words are oldest of 7, father of 5.
My name is Benedict Wiesner. My 6 words are I'm part of a huge family.
And I am Crystal Nordan, and my 6 words are my life, a never-ending roller coaster.
Okay, thank you very much. So if you're interested in learning more about the panel members, please tune in to podcast 5, where they talk more about their lives in that one. So before we dive into the discussion questions for this week, it's time for a segment that I call, So What Have You Been Busy With Lately? So Benedict, so what have you been busy with lately?
I am a commuter student at Benedictine University, so I don't have much excitement to share, but I've been busy with the classes I'm taking, which right now are Calculus 3, Organic Chemistry 2 with a lab, Endocrinology, Constitutional Law 2, and I teacher's assistant for your class, Genetics Lab. I think I might be forgetting one, but maybe not. So that keeps me pretty busy. I do a little bit of work at the weekends at a company across the street, just mostly paperwork stuff. But in a broader sense, I'm also busy with trying to figure out what I'm actually going to do with my life, because I don't have a very clear track. I'm not one of those students who know exactly what degree I'm going to get and what postgraduate degree I'm going to get. I'm not one of those people. So right now I'm signed up for the LSAT to try to pursue law school. I don't know if I'm going to pursue law school. I am thinking about what I'm going to be doing next semester, see if I can do some biology research. Maybe I'll really like that. So, and then just applying for a bunch of different internships in fields from marketing to health insurance companies, like government initiatives internship that I applied for. I am all over the place, and I have no idea where I'll be in 1 year. So I'm a little busy with figuring that out.
Yeah, that's a lot to figure out,
Yeah.
that's for sure. If it makes you feel any better, I also never knew what I was going
Yeah.
to end up doing.
I've come to peace with it. I'm totally okay with not knowing where I'm going to be. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'll be somewhere, and if I don't like it, I'll do something else.
There you go.
Yeah.
Be somewhere and you can
Yeah.
change.
The whole reason I went to college, this is Len, was because I had no idea what to do with myself when I graduated high school. So I figured college will work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at law school right now. Like, yeah, don't know what else to do. I'm pretty interested in it. I like this constitutional law class I'm taking. Maybe I'll do awesome on the LSAT and go to a good law school. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all up in the air.
It's all up in the air.
Well, actually, fun fact about me, I didn't go to college right out of high school. I took 3 years off.
Okay.
So it's a little bit unusual that I even ended up going. And then I never stopped. I was 10 years in
Yeah.
college after that. But
Now you're still spending all your time in college.
I'm still in college, yeah, so exactly. So never stop learning. But my thing was that the counselors at school were saying, you have to, you know, and I was like, nobody's going to tell me what I have to do. So I took 3 years off, and I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. And my teachers were coming through the drive-thru going, Sarah, what are you doing? Serving you chicken. That's what I'd tell them. So, you know, eventually I decided that that wasn't the thing to do the rest of my life, maybe, and went to college. But
You ever, you should go back to that Kentucky Fried Chicken and just hang out and wait for them to come back and say, "Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah Ware. Remember when I used to serve you chicken?"
just wait for my teachers
one of
to
those
come
old
back.
teachers
Yeah.
to come back to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
They might be slinging chicken by now.
They might be. That would be interesting. Okay, so the first question that I have for the panel today is, have you ever tried goat milk? And discuss.
I want to know, okay, how is goat milk in comparison to, like, regular milk? Like, is it, like...
It's sour.
There's no way to describe it except goaty, really.
It's like the same, is it the same
It's
makeup?
no,
like,
it's, it's weird. I've had it like once or twice. My sister says she's lactose intolerant.
That's what I'm talking.
Are
I'm
you
lactose intolerant, so I'm like, I wouldn't even...
Well, she had trouble with milk as a kid.
Isn't there lactose in goat milk too, though, right?
Probably.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
For some reason, though, I don't think it must be the same kind or something. I think some people can tolerate
Yeah.
milk.
Well, as a kid,
I don't think anyone should be able to tolerate it.
she wasn't okay with cow's milk, and my dad's mom is really into, like, every new week she has a weird diet that she says is going to change our lives. So she sent all this goat milk to Elena because she heard, I heard you are not doing well with milk, so here's a bunch of goat milk for you. And, like, nobody wanted it. It was just bad. And it's hard to describe except goaty. I don't even know how to describe the flavor.
It's a little thicker, it seemed
Yeah,
to me, like maybe it has a higher cream content or something. I don't know why, but it seems a little thicker.
It seems like it's got something added to it.
Goatiness.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's not like goat cheese versus cow cheese, because goat cheese is good.
Yeah.
I love goat cheese, but goat milk is...
But goat cheese is
Not a good
definitely
thing.
more pungent than
Yeah.
cow cheese.
It is, but it's, I don't know. My cousins moved to Idaho to kind of do what your parents did a little bit. Well, they already lived on a farm in Illinois to begin with, but then they made it out to Idaho to be even more rural. And they have a goat, and they milk it, and they swear it's delicious, freshly milked.
Well, they're wrong.
I think they're probably just wrong.
I think so, too.
I've actually never had it, but I don't like milk, and it kind of, I mean, like, I'll eat ice cream. I should not eat ice cream because it doesn't, like...
Oh, who can resist it?
But, yeah, right? It's, like, basically sugar anyway.
Yeah.
But regular milk, I'm just, like, now I'm just grossed out by it. Like, people who, I know friends who can just, like, go pour a glass of milk, and that's just gross to me. I just drink milk. I don't know what cereal I get, but, like,
No,
I don't know.
Disgusting.
I've always been grossed out by milk for some reason.
Just don't even go for goat milk.
I'm just going to stay back. Do some almond milk. Right.
Well, even as a kid, I remember, we'd have it every summer, and then not in the winter. It's like whenever the goats were ready to have goat milk. It wasn't all year round, but I remember every year thinking, I should like this by now. I don't know.
Taste is not acquiring.
So why did you want to milk your goat?
It's fun.
Yeah, my daughter said
I've never milked anything.
The strangest thing ever, like, from my childhood. Like, you were weird. That was like your childhood dream was to milk a goat, So, it was something that I would watch my mother do, and I just wanted to do it. It looked like something interesting to try.
Well, I can see that, though, because my dad grew up on a ranch in South Dakota, and they had a lot of cows, not so much goats. But, when you were a little kid, you would watch your bigger brothers or your parents go out to the barn and do their milking. And it was kind of a rite of passage to the next, the older people do it, so it must be cool kind of thing. And so he said you really wanted to learn how to milk when you were little. But then after you were doing it for 2 years, it lost its luster a little bit.
To do it again.
Yeah, that's right.
So Laura and I, my wife and I, this is Lane, we had gone on vacation one time to visit some friends in Indiana that were farmers, and they were swearing by unpasteurized milk, which is, it's not.
That has a
milk,
weird taste to it too.
It's got a different taste to it, and and if you've never had it before, it's just it's its own thing. And Laura, my wife, is she's like a milk connoisseur, right? Just constantly drinking milk. And so she tries it, right? She had it and drank it with her meal and stuff. And we had our first kid at the time, and she was still nursing. And I swear that glass of milk was the worst thing that ever happened to us, because we were driving home the next day, and my wife got stomach sick, and the baby got stomach sick.
Oh my!
And both of them were pulling over, and
oh boy.
They were both having stomach issues, and the baby ended up having an exploding diaper all over the car seat. I had to pull over in the one of the last Ponderosas that exists in the U.S. I pulled into the parking lot, and I'm got garbage bags, and I've got paper towels from the Ponderosa bathroom, and I'm trying to wipe out this car seat and clean off the baby, and Laura's all curled up in the front seat. So,
oh man,
yeah, be careful what kind of milk you drink.
And you think it was the milk?
I am convinced it was the milk.
Had to be the milk.
It had to be the milk.
Well, when we would go out to South Dakota, it usually happened every summer for at least a week or two, sometimes more. We would have that. They would have that kind of milk. That's the only kind they had, and it tasted weird. But by the time you were done being there for a week or so, you got used to it. It was okay.
Sure.
No exploding diaper bacteria.
We did get sick on the way home once.
Oh.
And,
See?
It was worth it.
we were a little bit older, so we were able to direct it out of the car.
Oh my God.
But the farmers along the way probably had to deal with some unpleasantness.
Moral of the story is, thank you, Louis Pasteur, for your brilliant invention.
No kidding.
So what about other foods? Since we're on the milk thing, what's the strangest thing you ever ate?
Probably, this is Benedict, probably the Romanian liver sausage, where the casing of the sausage was the entrail of the cow.
That's good.
It was delicious. It is one of the best things I've ever had.
Is it smoked? How was it prepared?
No, it was ground and...
Electrified.
No. No, they grind it up and they put a bunch of rice in there with it, and they I don't know. There's a Romanian way to do it. I didn't involve myself with making the sausage.
Okay.
It's kind of what you
Probably something that would ruin your day.
You don't really want to watch the sausage being made that you're going to eat,
right.
but I certainly enjoyed eating it.
Really, you liked it?
Oh, it's
all right.
really good. Yeah.
All right.
If you've never had liver, you should try it.
Nope, you shouldn't. I would not. See, me, I like the craziest thing I've ever had, because I just get grossed out by too many weird foods. Like, the craziest thing I've ever eaten would probably be like deer. And it's because I was tricked into thinking that
venison is the best
it's like
meat.
chicken. And I was like, that's how I ate it, because they were like, oh, it's chicken. I'm like, oh, that's good. And I was little, and like chocolate covered bacon. Like, that's like as adventurous as I've gone into. Like, I just
There's a whole world.
No, I just don't even go.
For you.
Don't even need to go into all that.
Anybody else not like squash? I can't eat squash.
I cannot stand squash. I am a pretty adventurous eater at this point in my life. I used to be really picky, but I'll eat a lot, but I hate
There's
squash.
something about the consistency that it just reacts, and I can't get it down.
Butternut squash, like baked and with butter on it, and people
or like those
think it's the best
acorns
stuff.
where they put cinnamon and stuff, and it's supposedly really good.
Not really good. We do the spaghetti squash.
Ooh.
Yeah, even that? Okay, I like spaghetti squash.
Ooh.
I'll substitute that.
I'm getting the chills willies from it. I can't do it.
So
I just can't do it.
I'm a really picky eater. I don't know who knows that about me, but I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I'm still pretty picky. And I tell everyone that, because when we were in the Netherlands, a lot of people were inviting us over to eat before we left and came back to the U.S. And so one of the houses we went to, the lady asked Jonathan, is there anything you guys don't eat? And he said, no, we're all fine except my wife, Sarah doesn't eat seafood. And so we're eating, and I tasted something fishy, and I thought it's fish oil because, people put fish oil, and I was like, well, okay, I can tolerate it. Okay, I can do this. And then I saw a tentacle on my plate, and I knew it was in my mouth, and I almost vomited all over this. I just had to sit there and be very still and just tell myself not to vomit all over their table. And as I'm sitting there trying to keep my cool, the woman just starts dying laughing. She was so mean.
Wow, so she pranked you.
She did.
Oh,
She's
my
like, how are you
gosh.
enjoying your salad? Oh, you're so
Wow,
That's mean.
That's pretty heady there.
Yep.
That's a good one.
I'm pretty.
I mean, you should have vomited all over her table.
That would have been great.
That would have payback is fair, right?
Yeah, that would have been. I'm sure she would have been laughing really hard then. That.
How do you like your salad? I don't know. How do you like your table?
Yeah. Vomit cover?
There you go.
There you go.
I've had a lot of weird stuff. Adventure. I travel a lot, and I try to order things I've never had before. And I've had like, I don't know, like frog legs or alligator. I've had that. Tongues of different variety.
Oh, I love tongue.
But I think the most unique thing I've ever had that I've never seen at like a restaurant in the United States was I was in Mexico one time, and the house we were staying at, the lady made scrambled eggs with tortoise eggs.
Oh.
And so we had scrambled turtle eggs. And I've never met anyone else that has had.
You're
What did
the
they taste
man.
like compared to chicken eggs?
They were like the flavor. It was really good. There was like a great flavor to them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the spices. She was doing the same spice thing, and they seemed. The color was different too, which was strange. Like, so it's a different color.
So they're green because they're turtle.
They weren't green. They were more of like more of an orangey hue to it. I seem to
These
remember.
must have been fertilized turtle eggs, right?
Oh,
So
they
were
probably were. That's the only kind
So
that
there
they
was-
lay on the beach.
What is that called when you have a fertilized chicken
embryo
egg?
in there.
There's a name for that.
Yeah,
People eat
there
that
is.
kind of egg. I can't remember.
Blood.
So it was probably kind of like that. Like you're eating a little bit of.
It was fantastic though.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
What did you put on them? Just salt?
Just ate them like normal, scrambled eggs. I think there was some, cheese out there, and we probably wrapped them up in tortillas and ate them that way. It was a while back, but I remember really, really liking them, thinking this is fantastic.
Need to have these again. Sometime.
Yeah.
Any chance I get.
People really like turtles, though. So
I don't run
feel
across
like-
them very often.
I feel like if you serve turtle eggs to people here, they'd be mad at you.
You're going to take some flack for that.
Yeah. People really
We're a
don't.
friendly audience right here, but...
Okay, speaking of turtles, so I lived in Tennessee. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of people who like to go bridge jumping. It just means you jump off bridges into the water.
I got friends in Wisconsin that
Yeah, it's like you find a bridge and it's like in Bufu nowhere, and you're like, well, there's probably not going to be any cops that care, so we're going to jump off this bridge. And it was like a 30-foot bridge, and I remember my sister did it, or I did it first, and my sister did it, and I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. Like, there's someone down there to catch me in the water, but I like jumped off a bridge just because it's like, yeah, we're all hillbillies out here. Like, they're all like drinking, like all the parents of these random people on the side of this road, and the cars are driving by, like. So, but my, I had a stepfather that my mom was married a long time ago when I was like 8, and he found a turtle there, a big turtle there, and he brought it home with us. I don't know what kind of turtle it was, but it was like a big turtle. It was fat, and he was like, it's going to come home with us. And I was like, cool, it's a turtle. And then that night, like under the porch light in the backyard, he's cutting it up. He cut up a turtle in the backyard. He's like, Crystal, come check this out. And I'm like, no. He's like, look, there's its head. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to make turtle soup.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I didn't eat. I don't know who ate it, because I wouldn't eat it. And I'm sure my sister would be like, that's gross.
Did he do it right away, cut it up for soup?
I have no idea. I just got home and there was a dead turtle in my backyard.
You have to wait. You have to like filter it in clean water for like 2 weeks or something.
Okay, well, he did not do that.
I know, exactly.
Prepping a turtle.
Because when I guess I have a story about this.
Everybody knows.
So, no, this was when I went to boarding school for a year in northeastern Pennsylvania, right outside of Scranton. I just went there sophomore year of high school, and toward the end of the school year, these students found a turtle and brought it back to the school. This is so weird. Like, it was very laid back in a way at that school, because the whole faculty was like, okay, just keep the turtle in your dorm, like, whatever. So they had this turtle, and the rugby coach taught the students like how to make turtle soup. He knew for some reason you have to keep it in a clean, like get it new clean water every day, and just keep it in this like clean bucket of water. Yeah, so that it is drinking and filtering itself out with the clean water, because you can't just find a turtle in the wild and make soup out
Okay, well,
of it.
that's what he did.
It's like it'll have nasty, creek water in it, and that's dirty.
So it's a good thing you didn't eat it.
It's a good thing I'm a picky eater.
Yeah.
Or else I could be sick,
Well,
so.
they never got to
Congratulations.
make the turtle soup because the cook at the school threatened to quit if they didn't release the turtle back. She was so upset. I mean, this cook, made food made out of meat. I don't know where she suddenly was, horrified
Free
by
the
the prospect
turtle.
of eating an animal. But that's what I mean. Like, people get so attached to turtles
Turtles are,
that they don't. She literally threatened to quit. And we were like, well, we need a cook, so they had to let the turtle go. Someone else found a beaver and brought the beaver into their dorm.
What?
Okay.
No,
hold
they
on.
just brought the beaver. This was like not a good idea. Beavers are huge. They're bigger than you think.
They have those teeth.
Yeah, it had like hundreds of ticks on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it was nasty, and they just brought this beaver into their dorm. They're like a large dog. That's how big they are.
Yeah, they can be 50 pounds.
You don't think of them. You think of a little like rodenty thing. They're like a giant, big mammal. Yeah.
So we're off topic just slightly, but
Sorry
to go
about that.
along with this, because this is fantastic. The first house my parents owned was a little Cape Cod with a detached garage, and it had like cabinets and stuff in there. And at one point, a possum went in there and had babies, and so we had this mom possum and a little baby brood in there. And my dad thought this was hilarious. Like, not I'm going to do anything about this. Like, this is a great opportunity to like do some homeschooling or something. So he had the whole family like get in the car and drove the car into the garage next to this cabinet, like with the windows up and everything. And then like I gotta go back and ask him, like, how did he get the door open? But like, got the cabinet door open. And I just remember, like, I'm sitting next to the window in the rear passenger seat, and this possum is like looking at us all angry and squealing, and it was like terrifying. I still have the image stuck in my head. Possum in our garage squealing at me, and then I don't know how we got rid of it or anything. So that's a story that I need to get to the bottom.
Yeah, get to the bottom of that. Well, so I have a
that
question about that. Is that did you know you were going to see a possum?
Yeah, but I thought it was going to be cool. Like I thought
Okay.
I thought
Like
the possum
a nice, fuzzy, little warm creature.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought the possum was going to be docile and like they're like with its babies and they'd be cute. The possum was not happy that we were there at all.
And they have a mouthful of teeth.
Oh yeah, I mean it was frightening.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, fleshy tail all wrapped around like. Ugh.
I saw something. I came early to College of DuPage to set up for a lab practical. It takes like 2 hours to set those up. And so it's like 5 in the morning or something. And I'm out in maybe it was a little later, I can't remember, maybe 6. But I was outside, parked my car, no one else is in the parking lot. And I saw this thing, this creature. And I even was like out there like an idiot with my phone trying to film this weird thing. And then I went home and I'm looking it up and I'm like, Jonathan, this is what I saw. And he's like, that's a capybara. You did not see that at College of DuPage. It looked just like it. But it turned out I think it was a possum. But, it was...
Capybara is a large rodent from South America, right?
Like that, yeah.
It's definitely a large rodent, not from here.
They don't live in DuPage, Illinois.
I was convinced, like totally, but.
Well, we had a turtle story. One of our visits to South Dakota. They didn't have natural lakes. They all had reservoirs on these gulches, and eventually they fill up with water and they make a lake. And one of our trips to the lake to go fishing or whatever, my uncle and my dad caught this great big snapping turtle. And my dad got the great idea. So we brought it back to the house and we're showing it off, and you put things in its mouth and they crack sticks in half and everything, hiss at you and all this kind of stuff. So we thought that was cool.
Did he lift it up?
I didn't. I was too little.
Okay.
But so then my dad and my uncle had the great idea, well, why don't you guys take it home? So we get on the train with this gunny sack that had a snapping turtle in it. So we're bouncing down the tracks, maybe 100 miles or something, and my dad reaches down and grabs the gunny sack, and it's empty. So we go looking all around the train. So can you imagine with your shoes off, taking a nice little nap, and there's a snapping turtle sniffing your feet or whatever? Oh, man. But we never found that turtle.
Oh, my God.
We had no idea where it went or whose leg it was snapping onto or anything.
That's awesome.
So,
Wow. Interesting. So
hilarious.
it crawled into someone else's gunny sack.
that's right.
Wow.
Or suitcase or whatever. Imagine the surprise of opening your
Somewhere else
suitcase.
there's a podcast going on. Someone being like, we got on a train. And when we got off, there was a snapping turtle in our suitcase.
Could never figure out where it came from. Yeah.
I don't know why they thought that was a good idea, though.
No, that's a terrible idea.
Those things are not safe. I mean, they are mean buggers.
They are
It was
mean.
big.
They can get toes clean off, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As far as I know.
All right. Well, kind of along the same animal lines, another question that I had is, what kind of pets did you have growing up? And I think we've talked about a lot of non-pets, maybe food sources and snapping turtles and things. But if you had some pets, did they get in trouble? Like the goats got in a lot of trouble. Yes, Crystal?
Yes. Okay, so I don't know if you remember, like in elementary school, and you had the eggs that, the incubation process, and then they
And
hatch
chickens.
little chickens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you ever got the option to take them home, because when you lived in Tennessee.
We actually had a chicken coop that we filled them up with.
Yeah, and the teacher's just like, okay, if you want a chicken, take it in a box. I'm like, okay. Okay. My grandma lived in a trailer, like in a different part of like town, so I sometimes take the bus home to her house, and I was like, Grandma, I'm bringing home a chicken tomorrow. And she was like, whatever. It was like, not, we live on a farm, like she lived in a trailer, like, and there was some grass, like that was all. So she was like, whatever, it's cool. And I brought this chicken home, and it was like, I don't even know what I named it. If I named it, I was just like, I have a little bird, and it's so cute, you know. And then, like, I was like, I went home, and I'd come visit, like, on the weekends, and it just, like, hung out in the backyard. I came back, and I was like, oh, this is a rooster. Like, it's not even a chicken. And it was mean. And I was, like, in the backyard, and I was like, hey, you know, like, my little friend, whatever I named it. And it, like, started attacking me. Like, it was, like, running around and, like, pecking my leg, and I, like, ran up the door, and I was like, let me in. And, like, it's hurting me. Like,
I'm really imagining
this
you banging
scary.
on the door.
I'm like this little blonde thing, like, you know, 7. I'm like, let me in the house.
Wow,
This chicken is like crazy, or rooster. And so my grandpa was like, oh, that rooster, how dare it hurt my grandchild? I don't know. Well, he thought it'd be a great idea instead of just like, you know, bringing the chicken or rooster somewhere. He's like, I'm just gonna kill it, but I'm gonna not like shoot it or like, you know, make it lost in the woods. I don't know. He like runs around for an hour around the trailer with a rope. I'm not even kidding. It just runs around the trailer after this rooster, and it's just running around like, oh, you're not gonna catch me. And he ties a rope around this rooster's neck. And he's like, watch this. And he just goes, boop, like in circles, and he
You
pops.
have to describe for the podcast listeners the
yeah.
motion.
In a circle, around
like a
and around.
lasso, basically?
Yes,
Like-
basically. Like, no, like he had just tied
the
it.
chicken at the end of it, like swinging around.
Yeah, it's like upside down. Like, oh, Ferris wheel. Like, and his head popped off, and it was gone. And that,
Just popped off.
its head just, I
So
mean,
did the body like?
I wasn't
centripetal
watching. I
force?
think I was so probably scarred from this moment that I probably wasn't like, wow, this is fascinating. No. So I don't really know what happened to the rooster, or if he had a nice burial, or if I was sad. Like, I don't even know. But I just know that rooster hurt my leg, and he had it coming, so.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, my rooster. I shouldn't have got that rooster.
Should not have brought that thing home.
Yeah, I shouldn't. That's a bad idea.
It was interesting. We got some of those eggs, and we incubated them, and they turned into chicks. And it was interesting because there was a progression of roosters. You know, I don't know what the percentage of male versus female comes out on eggs. In humans, it's 50-50, roughly. But in chickens, I don't know what it is. But anyway, so we had about 15 of these chickens, and they would all march around the yard. And there was one great big rooster that we called Cowboy, and man, he ruled the roost. And they all followed him, and if anybody got out of line, he'd whack them, and he was tough. Well, we also have.
Did you ever strangle a head off of one?
No, I never did
No?
that.
Okay.
So we
that's
did
not
have
coming.
we did have coyotes and raccoons and foxes, and our neighbors had greyhounds, and the greyhounds thought that those chickens were there for them to kill. So they would just come running around, you know, and they could run so fast they'd just streak through the yard and grab one up and shake it a few times and fling it up in the air, and there went another chicken. So, but anyway, so Cowboy met his maker somehow, I don't remember how, and here one of these other chickens that we thought was a hen turned out to be a rooster, and he started kicking everybody else around. And, but he didn't do it before. He was like trying to toe the line because he knew he'd be in trouble if the other guy knew he was a rooster, probably.
Wow.
Wow.
So then this second one, whose name was Roosevelt, met his maker also, and another little guy took off. I don't know how many roosters we had in that group. It's like they all kind of hide in the bushes pretending that they're not a rooster until it's their time, you know?
That's actually a genetic thing, isn't it? Isn't it like genes that aren't activated until one rooster becomes the dominant rooster? I think I've learned about that in genetics, actually.
The wrasse, there's a fish. It's a little bit different, but it's kind of the same idea, maybe. I don't think that a hen is turning into a rooster.
No,
probably.
they're a rooster.
But there's this fish, and then there's a harem, and then there's this one lone male fish. But if the male fish dies, the oldest female fish will become male.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's that. That does really There's
Well,
a
it's like
transformation.
Clownfish too, right? So like the thing with clownfish is like if the female dies and the male becomes a female and like finds another male mate. So the whole thing with like Finding Nemo is that the dad would have been the mom by the end of
He kind of acted like
the movie. It kind of acts like it. We did the egg thing too at our house, and my mom was interested in getting lots of different things. So we started out with chickens, but then that was apparently too basic, and we moved on and we did like pheasants. We grew these like pheasants, and we had a bunch of pheasants running around our yard, and then we would go release them. And this there's a forest preserve, Max McGraw Forest Preserve over there off of 25, and
That's not a good way to release them if you want them to stay alive. They get shot over there.
yeah, well, yeah. So there's that. But then we also had we tried ducks, and so the interesting thing about ducks when you're doing the eggs is you have to spray them with water all the time because the mom is getting out of the lake, and that's actually part of the incubation. Is if you don't spray the eggs while you're turning them, the baby literally will stick to the inside of the egg, and they die.
Won't work.
Yeah. So they have like this whole water process, but we didn't have. That was the only interesting thing we had. Then we had a series of dogs that were ill-behaved because we were bad at training them. That was about it.
Most of us are bad at training them.
Yeah.
I had a pet squirrel once, and I don't really know where it came from. I don't know where these animals come from. Like, I don't. You know how many dogs and cats I had in Tennessee? Like in Tennessee, you're just like it's normal to be like, yeah, I've had like 12 dogs and they've run away. Or I had a dog named Sparky and he got hit by a car 3 times and he was still like, hey, what's up, guys?
He was hopping on one leg by the time.
He was not too smart, that Sparky. But I had the same stepdad with the turtle. He brought home a squirrel in a cage.
Baby?
It was a little baby.
Yeah.
So
Baby squirrel.
cute.
Wow.
And its name was Abe because they thought that was funny because he cost $5 from some dude. Like, I don't even know how, like, where this squirrel came from. Just some dude.
Ones were called Tom.
Some dude was like, here's a squirrel, give me $5. And I guess my stepdad was like, that sounds good. Like, I don't know, I was like, this thing is so cute. And it was, I don't even know how long it lived, but like, I came home from school one day and it was just like, on its side, like hyperventilating, and like its face was all twisted. And I'm like, what do I do with this squirrel?
Abe's done.
Abe died that day. Like, I don't even know what his, like, I don't know where he came from. I feel bad for him. R.I.P. Abe. But
It's tough.
yeah, so
My son Caleb used to go up to Camp Awana every year, and it's in Wisconsin, kind of south Wisconsin. And his gig was he loved animals. He loved all things out in nature. And he would catch turtles and squirrels and all kinds of things and trade them for what he wanted. He'd trade them for their canteen money, or he brought one week he brought home several pairs of pretty new Nike shoes and all kinds of stuff. I'm sure there were all kinds of parents that were, you traded this for what? Type of thing. But anyway, the way he would catch those, they had these little ground squirrels or gophers, all over the place, zillions of them. And the way he found to catch them is you take a jug of water and you turn it upside down in the hole. And when it starts filling up too much down in their little nest down there, they got to come out and they climb right into the jug. Wow. So that's how he figured out how to catch all these squirrels. I never saw him do it, so I might be oversimplifying it, but that's what he did. So he made a living off of catching all these ground squirrels.
Wow.
He never brought any home, thankfully.
Just send them to other people's houses.
Yeah, he
Wonder
did.
if Abe
He
had
did
the
bring
same
home frogs and
Poor
fish
Abe.
and turtles, though. He brought all kinds of
caught.
stuff home.
Yeah, he probably sold this squirrel the crystals.
Yeah, that was
Actually-
probably where he came from.
yeah, it's a messed up business.
Sarah, in your story, I was trying to put this together. You said that the fence around the goats was electrified, but you didn't have electricity in your house.
At that
battery.
point, we did.
You did have
At
electricity
that
at
point.
the house. Oh,
yes.
okay.
So when we
I was
moved,
like, you guys were working on getting the fence electrified before the house.
You got to have your priorities.
That's some hillbilly priorities right there.
well, from what I'm thinking, well, when I was, I don't know, it may have been hooked up to a battery or something.
car
now that
battery.
you mention it, I know when we moved into the trailer, I was 7. So it could have been that overlap there. Yeah, this is fuzzy, really fuzzy for me. But we did have electricity when we moved into the trailer house.
Yeah.
We got phone and electric there. And they were in the trailer, so it must, so there had to be, I'm talking to myself. Okay, Sarah, there was electricity at the time, because they were in the trailer had electricity, so yeah.
Okay, we got the timeline down now.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right. That's important.
I was wondering about the
straight.
jumping goat on the, was this goat literally jumping on the bed?
Yes. Oh, having fun.
Really?
Sounds like a goat thing.
Yeah, one was
hilarious.
eating books, and the other was jumping on the bed.
It's a stereotypical goat.
Is that?
That is
eating
goat.
I
Yes.
didn't know that.
Yeah, that's totally stereotypical.
What you see in the movies, they're
cartoon
like
thing.
being jerks.
Yeah, that's exactly how goats are.
They're kind of they kind of are looking for something fun to do. They're not just like a boring animal that munches grass all day. They like to mix it up somehow.
Mischief.
Yeah. They're characters. Goats are real characters.
Yeah, but that was definitely defining for sure in my childhood. I know I've had an intern once, and she was telling me some story, and I even don't remember what it was. She says, "That was a defining moment," and I said, "What? That was a defining moment in your childhood? Are you kidding me?"
Warped forever.
And so I told her my goat story, and she goes, I got nothing. Never mind. Okay, well, thank you very much for participating. This is a lot of animal talk and food talk, so that was interesting what that summer sausage chapter turned into. I'd like to thank the panel once again. That was a great discussion. And thank you for listening to the Hillbilly Justice on the School Bus podcast. Tune in next time to hear about fun on tanks. Until then, dream big and have fun.